Hello, everybody. My name is Adam Bergman. I want to tell you a story. My mother, who was a single parent, came here as an immigrant, 2 kids. She ended up getting a job as a paraprofessional in a school, worked her tenure, and ended up retiring. During that time, she raised 2 kids, no public assistance, and she did the best that she could. She gave us a lot of love, and we made sure that we always had food. We always had clothes on our back. But for all intents and purposes, we did not grow up with money. We grew up pretty broke. And as you can imagine, some people are in the same situation. It was very, very difficult for us, a family of 3. Very, very difficult. But this instilled in me a yearning, a want, a responsibility to take care of my family. Not only my future family that I have right now, but my existing family. You see, I always wanted to give more to my sister. I always wanted to give more to my mother. My sister, God bless her, is married to a fabulous, fabulous man. Shout out to my man. I don't want to mention his name because I like to keep everything quiet, but let's just call him G. Shout out to G. And for the longest time, I was taking care of my mother. I still do. I pay most of her bills because I love my mother. And at the end of the day, that's what you got to do as a good kid. A lot of immigrants will understand where I'm coming from. This is also very huge in the Asian culture. You take care of your seniors. But that's neither here or there. And as I was growing up broke, I saw a lot of people that had really cool stuff, really cool cars, went on really cool vacations, had really cool gear, really cool hoodies and jewelry and so on and so forth. And I used to get angry, but angry in a good way. This put fuel to the fire of my heart of wanting not to be broke. Fast forward to 31 years old, I ended up saving up a lot of money and I bought my first piece of property, my personal home, which I believe should be the first property that everybody should buy. And as they say, the rest is history. I was saving up a lot of money. I reinvested a lot of my money. I invested money into real estate. I invested money into businesses. I invested money into stocks. I invested money into crypto, so on and so forth. And by no means or measure am I rich, but I do okay for myself. The thing is, I went from absolutely broke to having such a strong footing and foundation to being able to wear an AP on my arm and have a couple of other watches and really cool things. And that's not to brag, that's just to explain to you I'm a regular, everyday, average Joe. As I'm looking at the United States right now, with over 60% of the United States living paycheck to paycheck, with over 75% of people making $50,000 or under living paycheck to paycheck, with 65% of people making between $50,000 and $100,000 living paycheck to paycheck, and even 45% of people making over 6 figures, over $100,000 living to paycheck, with a $1 trillion cumulative in the United States credit card bill, which comes out to, if you just take adults in the United States above 18 years old, to over $3,800 per adult. Let that sink in for just a moment. Now, I was going to make a really cool video just for my channel members. I have channel member down below. It's $3 a month. For the $3, you support my coffee addiction. Allow me to make really cool videos, and I do a lot of additional content for my channel members. If you guys want to support the channel, feel free. I was going to make today's video for my channel members, but as I was doing research, I realized nobody knows what the F is going on. And by nobody knows, I mean most people, including your biggest financial YouTubers. Most of them were broke before YouTube, would be broke if they didn't have YouTube, and have no financial footing and foundations. I don't give a flying fizzle how much money they made off of stocks or crypto. Most of them don't understand finance, the basics of finance. And for all of the statistics that I gave you today, I wanted to make a video and share it with my general subscribers that most general subscribers are not going to watch. I cannot imagine a video like this. That's one of the most important videos that I will ever make in my entire life will get more than 1,000 views, which is definitely subpar for my channel. But if I were to talk about a cryptocurrency on my other channel, or if I was to talk about a stock that's going to go to the moon, everybody would watch. Now, at the end of the day, I am an avid investor. I love my stocks. I am an aggressive growth stock investor. And I think that everybody in their 20s and 30s, and by everybody, I mean in general, it doesn't mean everybody specifically, should be really aggressive with their type of investing. But it's easy to say because I have a footing and foundations, and I understand, at least as a general concept, which is more than most people, of how finance works. And the footing and foundations, the bedrock of finance, is quite simple. Live below your means. Credit card bills are good, but not all credit card bills are good. They're good to a point to build credit. I'll go over it in just a moment. And most importantly, the thing that you can do, the most important thing is to be set for your retirement. Now, when I say set for your retirement, I don't mean go live in a mansion, go live on an island, go live on a boat. What I mean is, I want to make sure that you have enough money for medical bills. I want to make sure that you have enough money to put a roof over your head. I want to make sure that you have enough money to eat a nice grilled tuna and a nice steak. What I mean is live comfortably. You worked your entire life and then you retire at 67 years old and then you don't even enjoy the rest of your life. And this is the worst thing that can possibly happen to somebody, especially with debt spiraling out of control. And what example do we have as a United States citizen when we look to the United States, the greatest country in the world, with the highest GDP, that also has an outrageous national debt? Last time I checked, it was nearly $35 trillion. This debt will never be paid back. And if we didn't have the United States military, oh boy, would we be absolutely effed in the United States. With our school systems absolutely in chaos, absolute shit, and with our country literally one person blaming the other, the left and the right arguing so that a very select few of people are making a lot of money, what hope do we have as a society? The hope, I hope for you, is that you understand how to invest. Specifically, if you are young right now, I commend you for even watching this video or watching any finance video. I want to start with the basic needs that you should be doing. You see, you make a certain amount of money every single year. Most of that money, unless you work for yourself, is taxed. It's fully taxable. But you do have certain tax deductions that you can do, especially if you work for an employer or even if you work for yourself. And besides for that, you have even additional tax benefited accounts. Let's go into the accounts one by one. These accounts are going to vary, and it also varies depending on how much salary you make, what state you live in, are you married, are you single, do you have kids, so on and so forth, etc., and your age. So this is going to be in general broad, but this probably is going to apply to 85% of the people that are watching this channel, if not more than 95%. The very first thing that you should know is there's something called retirement accounts. Now, there's something called IRAs, which stands for individual retirement account. The retirement accounts for me are broken down into 401ks or similar 401ks, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, SEP IRAs, whole life insurance, HSAs, so on and so forth. Now, these are a lot of words that I've been talking, so let me break down each of these accounts and see maybe these accounts benefit you. Because I guarantee you that 19 out of 20 people that are listening to this video right now are not fully taking advantage of these accounts. And I never noticed it until recently I opened up a Roth IRA for investment purposes to make videos. I wanted to show people how to buy and sell covered calls using a real strategy and essentially making a synthetic dividend or a weekly salary like I've been doing selling covered calls on my stocks that I talk about with my channel members and that I briefly talk about on my channel. But most people are not taking advantage of this, and I'm like, yo, what the F is going on? A 401k. A 401k is usually given by your employer. The really good benefits here is, number one, it's tax deductible, which means, let's say you make $100,000, you put in $1,000 into your 401k, you don't have to pay taxes on $100,000, you pay taxes on $99,000. It's tax deductible. The thing about a 401k is there's a lot of times a match by your employer. So an employer will match you. Some of them will match you dollar for dollar, whatever amount you put in. Some employers will match you up to 3%, up to 5%, so on and so forth. For me personally, if you can swing it, I would match my 401k to the maximum that my employer will give me. For example, if my employer will match me dollar for dollar up to $1,000, I'll put in 1,000. If it's 5,000, I'll put in 5,000. If it's 10,000, I'll put in 10,000. Now, there's, of course, a lot of limitations here, and you should consult a financial advisor, an accountant, or somebody that's qualified to talk about this, because I'm not giving you guys advice. This is purely entertainment and education. And listening to any YouTuber, including myself, all you should do is get some ideas, and you should DYOR, do your own research, and DD, due diligence. Make sure not to go exactly by what I'm saying, but make sure that this entices you to actually do your research and grab your life by the balls and go get the most out of this life. And I promise you, I use all the methods that I'm talking about that pertain to me personally. Remember, I'm a business owner. I own my own business since I was 20 years old. So for 2 decades, I have my own business. When I learned that I'm not going to break my back for somebody else to make money, I will make money for myself. Next, you have something called a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA has no tax incentives for you when you put your money in upfront. For example, if you make $100,000 and you invest $5,000 into your Roth IRA, you still have to pay taxes on $100,000. You don't deduct the $5,000 from the $100,000. However, the money that you put into your Roth IRA, when you retire and you pull your money out at 59.5, so on and so forth, you will not have to pay any taxes on the money that you accumulated in this account. So you can trade this account, you can buy stocks. Let's say you buy stocks for $1,000, and by the time you retire, that now becomes $5,000. You don't have to pay tax on the money that you accumulated. The maximum that you could put in is $6,500 for 2023. I literally just opened up a Robinhood Roth IRA, and they match you for 3% if you're a gold member. They literally gave me like $195 just for putting in $6,500. That's a little bit of a bonus. If you want a Robinhood account, I have a link down below to a Robinhood account. You don't have to use it, but it definitely helps me out and it helps you as well. We both get free stocks. Then you have something called a traditional IRA. A traditional IRA is tax deductible. So if you have a $100,000 salary, you open up a traditional IRA for $6,500, you deduct $6,500 from your $100,000 salary, and you have to pay less taxes on $100,000 minus $6,500, which is approximately $93,500. It reduces your tax bracket. However, when it's time to take the money out, since you did not pay taxes on this money already, there are going to be tax burdens. So if you increase your asset, for example, you bought for $1,000, it's now worth $5,000, you will have to pay taxes on the money that you made. But there's a lot of tax incentives and a lot of ways to play this once you retire and you start taking your money out at 59.5. If you do need your money, there's a 10% taxation to take the money out, like a penalty. I want to say something else about the Roth IRA. If you put your money into the Roth IRA and for whatever reason you need to pull the money out, you can pull that money out without any penalty up to the initial investment that you put in. So if you put in $5,000, you can take out $5,000. There will be no tax penalty for that. Next, you have something called a SEP IRA. Traditional IRA, by the way, also $6,500 for 2023. A SEP IRA is very interesting, and it's for people that own businesses, for example, for myself. But not only do I have SEP IRAs, I also have Roth IRAs. So you don't just have to do one or the other. You can mix and match and stack these investment opportunities for retirement. A SEP IRA is pretty simple. If you pay yourself a salary and you are your own employer, up to 25% of your salary or maximum $66,000, you can invest it into a retirement account called a SEP IRA, and that is tax deductible. For example, If you give yourself a $100,000 salary, but you have $120,000 in your bank account as a business at the end of the year, you paid yourself $100,000, you have $25,000 left, you can give yourself a $25,000 deposit for a SEP IRA, and you don't have to pay taxes on that additional $25,000, and you don't have to take it as income. It is also tax deferred, and again, you can start taking it out once you retire, but there are going to be tax implications. Like a traditional IRA, there is going to be a penalty if you withdraw the funds early, and that penalty is 10%. Besides for this, you have something called an HSA, which is a health savings account. A health savings account has 3 ridiculously good tax incentives, but not everybody applies for this. If you have a high deductible insurance plan through your employer, you can apply for this. You can ask them if you qualify for an HSA. You put your money for an HSA, you can use that money for medical bills, including your deductible. You can also invest with that account, and any money that you make in that investment, you don't have to pay taxes on when you withdraw it. Also, the money that you put into the HSA is tax deductible. Everything that I just mentioned is extremely valuable, not only for retirement, but also for life. Don't get discouraged by the numbers that I'm giving you. Even if you put in $500, $100, $1,000, $2,000, all of this grows due to compound investing. The more that you stack your investment, the more it'll grow. Once you do these retirement accounts, you can then trade it in stocks or just put it into a very safe S&P 500 or a Microsoft or a Google or an Amazon, something that has very low risk and also appreciates in value. I'm not going to give you any advice or any specific picks, and none of this is that, but you could do your own research and understand the type of investments. It all depends on your risk allocation and your risk appetite. Finally, there's something called a term and a whole life insurance. When you talk about a whole life insurance, this is a really, really cool product where you have a certain amount of term where you invest your money. The money you invest grows and appreciates in cash value, and there's a percentage that you make. And the best thing about all of this is, as you're accumulating wealth on this, you can always borrow against your account. There's also a lot of tax incentives to do that. This video is getting a little bit longer than I'd like it to go. But if everything that I said today, between the statistics and all of these basic retirement accounts, is just hitting you for the first time, then really I implore you to sit down and go over this and do your own research. Finally, I just want to touch a little bit about credit card bills. Earlier, I said that the credit card bills for the United States is over $1 trillion. It's record highs. It's absolutely absurd. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks when it comes to credit cards, because not all credit card debt is bad debt. First of all, if you have a credit card, you should be getting a 2% cashback credit card or similar. If you are not getting cash back on your credit card, what is wrong with you? When utilizing credit card debt, never take more than 30% of the amount they're giving you. So if you have a $1,000 limit, never use up more than $300, plus or minus. This is going to make sure that your credit score keeps going up, up, up. If you have a long-standing account and it's free, don't close that credit card, because it helps your credit score build up. The longer you have an account, the better it is for you. When paying back your credit card bill, at a minimum, you should be paying it back every single month. If you want to build up your credit score, there's a little bit of a cheat code where if you pay back your debt twice a month, so bi-monthly, it's going to increase your credit score a little bit better if you guys want to do that. Finally, if you have a credit card, make sure that you're always checking your credit score. You can use Credit Karma. If you have an American Express, they give you your credit score, and there's a lot of people that give you your credit score right now. Don't be applying for credit cards left and right, because the more you apply for credit cards or credit in general, they run your credit. The more they run the credit, the more it drops your credit score for a small period of time. This is the way that you actually use a credit card as a tool to build up your credit, because the point of building up your credit is so that you can borrow good debt. What is good debt? Borrowing debt on an appreciating asset. You see, you usually use your credit card for stupid shit. buying sneakers, buying a belt, dumb shit. An appreciating asset, for example, would be a home. If you build up your credit to get a mortgage to buy a home, that's considered good debt because the home appreciates over time and you're paying off your debt to reduce the amount you owe over time. So eventually you pay off your property and your property is going to be worth more money in the future. You can then borrow against the value of your home and pay no taxes on the amount of money that you're borrowing. Again, I want to stress everything that I'm saying is not advice, definitely not financial advice. I am not an accountant. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not anybody who's a pro in finance. I'm just giving you my own personal opinions. Do with it as you wish. I know this video is not going to do good, but it's super important that people understand financial literacy. Before you go out spending shit ton of money on dumb shit, make sure you have your footing, foundation, and your base correct. And at the end of the day, if you broke, go get another job. If you broke and you're playing video games in a basement all day long, no disrespect, something's wrong with you. Work your ass off and earn the right to sit back, relax, and have leisure time. If you don't got it like that, make sure 24/7 money is on your mind so that you can get to that point. If you don't care about money, if you don't care about retirement, if you don't care about anything that I said, and you're still listening to this video, thank you so much. But I have a feeling that for the 7 people that are actually listening to this video up until this point in time, this probably helps you. Let me know if you guys like videos like this, because again, I was only going to do this for my channel members. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me. It's super scary when you look to your left and you look to your right and you're like, wow, everybody's hurting for money. And then you realize most people are not doing the basics that they need to in order to accumulate wealth. Believe it or not, I promise you, all the really, really rich people in the United States are doing everything that I just said, or at one point in time were doing everything that I just said. You become so wealthy and so rich at one point in time that you can't even take advantage of these small loopholes and wealth building because you're just so rich that you're above the brackets, so to speak. Guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for the now 3 people that finished this video. Have a great day.